Yeah, Carl, there you go. Yeah.
I know more.
Yeah, so I just dropped myself yesterday. So you say you're unemployed? Yes. Long story. Long story. Oh, yeah.
See you tomorrow.
I am. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Casey. Do we give our slips to you?
You do.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. Yeah. I told him and I was waiting for it. I said I gave you his office number, but if you want his cell, I'm sure I can give you that too. Yeah. How are you doing, Ken?
How are you?
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's big hawk.
Hey, cute picture with the glasses.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I will. Okay.
It was
They
kind
worked too, wasn't it kind
that
of
was
cool?
amazing.
Okay.
You can't see nothing. And then
Yeah. And then the clouds just kind of separated.
for now,
Yeah, except for the bottom.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, perfect.
quite
At the
cool.
bottom.
I had a couple extra pairs actually. I didn't get them to one of my kids. So when my neighbors came out and he was mocking it, I said, come on over.
It's just-
backyard. I said, come on over. I'll give you a pair. And then all of a sudden I get a note from him later how much he enjoyed it.
that was pretty cool.
I thought it was. Definitely well worth the effort.
Was Calandrello here?
No. With you. Yeah.
Is this a no? I have an extra spongy thing. If it was red, I could make it my nose.
At least you can laugh.
It looks like it, but it's significantly bigger.
I know his hearing's at 6. The rain's gonna be good. I don't know. Let me send him a text.
Okay, I'm pouring. You want some?
I'm good. Thanks, Matt. I just got some. You ready? Gonna wait for Mike Kelly. You wanna go? No, let's go.
Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Here.
Trustee Dodge.
Here.
Trustee Guerra.
Here.
Trustee Rusick.
Here.
Trustee Calandrello.
Here.
Trustee Carroll. President PQ.
Here.
God.
Ready? Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance.
Item number 2017-0570, approval of August 7, 2017, regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of August 7th, 2017.
Second.
Are there any additions or changes? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll. Mayor Pecaw.
Here.
Got it.
Or aye, sorry.
Item number
You said my
2017-0573,
name right, I forgot what to say.
St. Michael's Church raffle license.
Note that Trustee Carroll has joined us.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
I move to approve issuing a raffle license to St. Michael's Church to sell raffle tickets beginning August 22nd through October 14, 2017.
Second.
Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pecaw.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0601, the Spirit of America Car Show raffle license.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to approve issuing a raffle license to the Spirit of American Car Show to conduct a raffle during their car show event on Saturday, September 16, 2017 at the Orland Park crossings.
Second.
Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pecaw.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0578, Civic Center appointment.
And Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to advise and consent to the appointment by President Pecaw of Fred Garfield to the Orland Park Metropolitan Exposition, Auditorium, and Office Building Authority.
Do I hear a second?
Second, sorry.
Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calendrella.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye. And now we'd like to go ahead and swear in Mr. Garfield.
I state your name. I, Mr. Garfield, have been appointed to the office of the Metropolitan Exposition, and been appointed to the office of the Metropolitan Exposition, Auditorium and Office Building Authority, Auditorium and Office Building Authority, Civic Center, in the Village of Orland Park, County of Cook and Will, aforesaid, County of Orland Park, County of Cook, aforesaid. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Illinois. And the Constitution of the State of Illinois. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Metropolitan Exposition Auditorium. Metropolitan Exposition Auditorium. And Office Building Authority. Office Building Authority. Civic Center. Civic Center. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. Thank you very much. That's all. You can stay.
Item number 2017-0597, awarding excellence in education to Owen Glennon. Presentation.
Yep.
A little background, I think it's great that the village, the Board of Trustees can offer up this award of excellence in different fields. Today is going to be education by reading the newspapers, watching the press. It's good that we support, we honor, and we call people out to do an excellent job. So Mr. Glennon, there's a couple reasons why he's getting the award today. First of all, 41 years at Marist High School, which has had to be a challenge at sometimes. He's a long-term Orland Park resident with his wife and 3 kids. But one of the key things that just happened is that Mr. Glennon became an editor for advanced calculus, not just calculus, but advanced calculus, a textbook, including like 250 pages and solutions. I never took advanced calculus. I wasn't smart enough to be in this class. I am embarrassed along. Also 65 videos, instructions, and one cool neat thing is Mr. Glennon was a cyclist, a big, huge cyclist, including raised his funds for scholarship at Marist, including 2015 he cycled from Marist New York High School College to Marist High School Chicago, so and raised more than $70,000 on that.
Wow.
So I think this is a great opportunity to kind of put a pat on the back and show and sponsor what a great man, a great teacher, a great educator, a great person here in Orland Park is. But how do you become an editor of a calculus book?
That's a good question. The author reached out to me at Marist and asked if I would be part of this, and it just kind of built up. Initially, I was just a consultant and giving them some input on things, and then as things worked out, they asked me to do more, which I said sure before I realized how much I was getting into things now. But the book is done, it's published, and it's available for the school year for the AP students around the country. And I got to work with a lot of really talented professors around the country on it, so it gives me insight as to how to do things. But it helped a lot to have the good Marist students over the years. You learn a lot from such a talented kid, Joe here. So,
He didn't take calculus, did he?
Taking calculus.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than I look.
Yeah. So I've gotten to be the shepherd of a lot of bright kids, but none of these accomplishments I would have. And of course, I got to thank my parents and my wife and children, but also being very fortunate to have been hired by the Marist Brothers back in 1976 and to have just a great and dedicated administration, including Larry Tucker, our principal, who's here today. And without all of them and students like yourself, Dan, it just wouldn't be possible. It's a great faith education community to be a part of. So I appreciate all the years I've been in there.
We're going to make it, I got to do the official reading now, so here we go. Village of Orland Park, Award of Excellence in Education, presented to Owen Glenn, Marist High School, for your contribution in advancement, the institution of advanced placement calculus. The Board of Trustees recognize and congratulate you on your accomplishments presented this 21st day of August 2017, nominated by myself and then attested by the village clerk. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dan.
And I'll just talk about the next one. Sure. There you go. Sure. Sure. Sounds good. You want to look? You got the colors and everything. Or sure, whatever. Now it's time to be in his class. My reading was very good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. All right.
Approval of the consent agenda.
Get it up first. So the consent agenda, item A, August 11, 2017 payroll approval. Item B, accounts payable for August 8th through August 21st, 2017 approval. Item C, disposal of village equipment, donation, all computer-related technology items that are outdated and or no longer operating. It's ordinance. Item D, Southwest Conference of Mayors Municipal Auction Ordinance. Item E, crew, cab, and chassis bid award. Item F, wood floor refinishing at various building locations, 3-year contracts, a bid award. Item G, 2017 and 2018 sanitary sewer smoke testing and manhole inspection program proposal. Item H, elevated tanks number 6 and 8 exterior cleaning proposal. Item I, municipal vehicle donation to the Village of Robbins ordinance. Item J, general high ceiling area cleaning proposals. Item K, replacement trailer for building maintenance division purchase. Item L, George Brown Commons garage restoration proposal. Item M, police station emergency steam boiler replacement and upgrade proposal. Item N, Public Works emergency rooftop makeup air unit replacement proposal. Item O, Recreation Administration building emergency boiler replacement and upgrade proposal. Item P, 11205 and 11211 183rd Place, Mokina, Illinois, Midwest Animal Hospital plat of easement vacation. Item Q, 11205 and 11211 183rd Place, Mokina, Illinois, Midwest Animal Hospital plat of consolidation. Item R, Riza Porsche, authorizing development agreement ordinance. Item S, IMRF resolution providing recertification of IMRF eligibility for elected officials, 600 hours or more per year. Item T, IMRF resolution providing recertification of IMRF eligibility for elected officials, 1,000 hours or more per year. Is there anything that people would like to take off of consent agenda? I would like to take item T off of consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll?
move to approve agenda items A through S.
Second.
The consent agenda items A through S have been motioned and seconded. Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calendrella.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Call item T.
Item T, 2017-0598, IMRF resolution providing reclassification of IMRF eligibility for elected officials, 1,000 hours or more per year.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll?
I believe it's recertification, with the second word of providing I move to approve item T, IMRF resolution for elected officials 1,000 hours or more per year.
Second.
You need a resolution number.
Oh, gotta have a number.
Yeah, hold on. You have a number, case?
Resolution number 1722.
Chairman, I move to pass resolution number 1722 entitled Resolution Relating to Participation by Elected Officials in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund.
And I repeat my second.
Okay, and the reason I took this off of consent is I had a question because this was recertifying IRMF positions for the village clerk, the village president, and the members of the Board of Trustees. And obviously, I opted out of that IRMF, so I was just wondering if we still had to recertify or not. I just didn't know.
Yeah, this is just routine. We need statutorily, we do need to. That's just stating that you're eligible for it. Yes, you are correct, Mr. Mayor. You did opt out of this, so this is just stating that elected officials are eligible to have IRMF.
Understood. That was my only question. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Did it.
Got that one right.
Hearings, 7 p.m.
We don't have any.
No. Public Safety, Technology, Works, Development Services. Item number 11, 2017-0441, 15221 Cottonwood Court.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the environmental clean technology review for roof-mounted solar energy system at 15221 Cottonwood Court as recommended at the July 25th, 2017 Plan Commission meeting and as fully referenced below.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from staff?
I have a question first. Carrie, how about how many of these do we have? We've seen these periodically. I don't know if we see a lot of folks doing solar.
No, we only have a few of these every year, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a couple geothermals that have come through, but we don't really get that many of them.
Got it. Do we have any feedback from the residents as how it's gone after the install?
Off the top of my head, we may have, but I don't know. I'd have to check with my inspectors to see. But
No, it would just be because it's it's practical experience and we're all kind of looking at these stuff. So it'd just be interesting to hear because I know the federal government extended the tax credit, so that's a good thing. I just wasn't sure how many folks are doing this.
yeah, we did talk at committee earlier this evening about changing some of the requirements for smaller types of projects like this where they don't have to go through the whole special use public hearing process for geothermal because you don't see it once it's constructed, as well as for smaller solar arrays as well. So that will actually be coming to the full board for approval at the next meeting. So we're trying to streamline the process and make it more attractive and less cumbersome for people who want to petition, but still, for those larger projects, still allow public input.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0503, 15610 LaGrange Road.
Ordinance
Ordinance
number,
number 5213.
please. Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to pass ordinance number 5213 entitled an ordinance authorizing annexation agreement 15610 LaGrange Road Plan Unit Development.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? And Carrie, could you tell us a little bit about this annexation agreement?
Sure. This is actually a pretty exciting project for the village because this is actually the old former Army Reserve Base on LaGrange Road that most people think was in the Village of Orland Park, but actually it hasn't been in the Village of Orland Park. So LFI, who is the local developer who is actually here tonight if anyone has any questions, is redeveloping this piece of property with the adjacent property immediately to the north. And the board has already approved the project, which is a number of different outlots as well as a big box store in the rear of the property as well. Also, as part of this project, we are getting a piece of the back piece of the property of the Army base to be donated to the Village of Orland Park to be used in the future for a public works expansion, which is really needed because, as you know, we're landlocked. So this was a complicated project, but a very good project to work on, and it will be good addition to the Village of Orland Park.
Any other questions?
No, just a commentary that I think this thing started so far back, I might have had hair when Army first started talking about getting out of this base. And I just appreciate, the village and the developer sticking with it through literally years of back and forth with the Department of Defense on surplus property. So I'm glad we're here. And, if we start doing some other alternative energy things down in Public Works, we're certainly going to need the space. So glad it worked out this way.
Any other comments, questions? The motion is put. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0517, disposal of village property, playground equipment. Ordinance 5214.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to pass ordinance number 5214 entitled Ordinance Authorizing the Donation of Municipal Property to Kids Around the World Incorporated, the Veterans Park Playground Equipment.
Second.
And the motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0580, Veterans Park Playground renovation bid award.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to approve awarding the Veterans Park Playground renovation bid to Innovation Landscape Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $133,221.52.
Second.
Are there any questions? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0593, Veterans Park Playground Equipment Purchase.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to approve waiving the bid process and approve the purchase of Veterans Park playground equipment from Park Creation in the amount not to exceed $70,870.32, and approve the purchase of Veterans Park Expression swing set equipment from Cunningham Recreation in the amount not to exceed $4,565.44.
Second.
The motion is moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item number 2017-0479, Ad hoc Committee to review Orland Park Commissions and Board structure.
Mr. Chairman,
Before we move forward with this, I'd like to call Mike Milani up. There's been a kind of a snafu in the paperwork, so he was supposed to be put up tonight for the Economic Development Committee, And I just wanted to introduce him to everyone, and at the next board meeting, we will go ahead and make sure that happens. There's Mike Maloney. So also, you don't have to hang out and wait.
Compliment on his hair.
Yeah, he looks a lot like...
So Mike, both
Yeah.
Mike and I really like that hairstyle. You know, it speaks volumes about.
Mike, why don't you?
And I understand your wife and your children are here too, so I apologize. That was a mix-up on our part for not putting this through. So,
Item number 2017-0479, ad hoc committee review.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
I move to approve for the village board to create an ad hoc committee effective immediately to review the commission structure of Orland Park and provide improvement recommendations to the village board, and approve appointing the following members: Trustee Ruzick, chairperson; Trustee Guerra, vice chairperson; Ed Giron, Kevin Scanlon, Janine Smith, Ed Schusler, and Bill Healy.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Rusick,
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello,
Nay.
Trustee Fenton,
Nay.
Trustee Dodge,
Aye.
Trustee Guerra,
Nay.
Trustee Carroll,
Nay. Nay.
President Peacock.
Aye.
4-3.
The motion has been defeated 4-3.
Item number 2017-0584, ad hoc committee to review Orland Park commissions and board structure. Approval.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the village board to create an ad hoc committee to review the Orland Park Commission structures and provide improvement recommendations to the village board effective immediately. And this ad hoc committee will operate for approximately 6 months and will decide their meeting frequency and whether to make the recommendations to the board one at a time or periodically.
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Dodge.
So if I was sitting in the audience, I'd wonder what the hell we're doing. So might we explain what we're doing with these three motions that are on the agenda?
Oh.
Any one of us. Let's just kind of explain kind of what we're working through here.
Oh, several months ago when this first came up, I asked if this could be split into 2 motions, and that's what I'm requesting right now.
And may I ask what the desire to split them into 2 motions is?
Yes, as we discussed in your office, I decided that I personally would like this split into 2 motions. In the past, we've always done the appointments as a separate motion. I have no qualms with this commission. So.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Well, my only comment would be I didn't have a problem with the first motion, obviously, since I was the one that made the motion. But it's something that needs to be done, and however we need to get it done, we have to get it done, because it's been a long time coming, so.
Any other questions or comments? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton,
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello,
Aye.
Trustee Dodge,
Aye.
Trustee Guerra,
Aye.
Trustee Rusick,
Aye.
Trustee Carroll,
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Item 2017-0583, ad hoc committee to review Orland Park Commission and board structure, appointment of members.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the Board of Trustees to appoint the new members to the ad hoc committee.
Second. You, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
At this time, I would like to make amendment to the motion, and I would like the amendment to read as so, that the Board of Trustees shall hold a open public workshop that will involve participants from all Board of Trustees members, all current citizen committee members, and all members of the general public. The workshop will include an open and transparent conversation regarding the citizen committee structure, and the workshop shall be held within 2 months of the passage of this motion. And as a point of definition to the board and to the public, I think that it's important that it's an open, transparent process, and we're all in agreement here. Every one of us are in agreement, at least I can speak for myself.
Has the motion been seconded yet?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you. To continue, I think it's key that everyone up here is in agreement with this committee and how it's focused. I don't want to waste anyone's time, and I don't have personally any issues with any of the people that were in previous motions. However, I think there's a couple issues that were brought up by many people on this board, and there were multiple issues, multiple asks for tweaks or for improvements, but there was no compromises or amendments. I mean, this was up, as Mr. Mayor, you've published multiple times for personnel issues. And I think it's key that, again, we support what's going on. Everyone supports it. I don't want to waste anyone's time. And a couple of the issues that some people have addressed here is transparency. This will make sure that Opens Meeting Act will be triggered. That will be an open process. It will be a public forum. Second of all, this would have direct committee involvement, the current committee, because at the end of the day, I think we need to know what's working in them and what's not working in them. And I think this inviting everyone and putting everyone in a room in a workshop format is more productive than a special committee. And I think it would be, I know Ms. McMillan was up here last meeting talking about his take and how he believes that the committees should be involved. Third of all, I think this will get direct public involvement. This would be open to all 60,000 people who can come. And I think that's key, that it's just not a select group, because at the end of the day, we want everyone involved in this room, everyone involved in our town. So I think that's key, and this will open it up. And then most importantly, it's going to get the job done. The more the heads, the better it is. I mean, I know, Mr. Mayor, you talk about involving everyone in the community, and I think this will do. There's talent out there that may not be able to sit on a committee and have the commitment of a 6 months or whatnot commitment. And I think this will tap into those resources. And I think the key thing is community involvement, transparency, and direct involvement. So I'm asking the board for a yea vote on the amendment, please. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? So my comment on that would be that my understanding from the attorneys when we first drafted this is that this would be covered by the Open Meeting Act, and that Carol Ruzick, as the chairperson, would set up the structure as far as who to meet with, and it was my understanding from her that she would be meeting with all of the various committees, and that this would be an open meeting. So I'm not sure I see the necessity for an amendment to this text.
I have a question. Just in terms of the amendment, is the purpose of the workshop to appoint the members?
No, the purpose of the workshop, and I probably wasn't, the purpose of the workshop is to get products and get recommendations, and they would report the workshop would develop a report, and they would probably need a chair, and that's something we work out detail-wise. I think the workshop will all work together and we'll make recommendations, the whole workshop as a whole. So instead of having 6 people making a report, it would be the whole workshop. So I think that's the key to that amendment.
So there is no committee, is what you're saying?
I believe there would be a committee of the whole or committee of the community. I think I guess proper would be a workshop.
So if I'm to understand that you think that we should have a committee of 60,000 people to make these decisions for a committee, which is a recipe for disaster, and what it really boils down to, I believe, is that you didn't like the people that were put on this board. And I heard from you, I heard from Trustee Fenton. I believe that they were my supporters, so therefore they shouldn't be on the board. Well, using that logic, then every member of the commission every commission should be taking off the commissions, because they've either supported myself or the previous mayor. And I don't think that's a very good way to move forward. And certainly everyone on this committee, the 7 people, were not supporters of mine. Some were, some were not. But that is, when you look at all of our committees, there are several people on those committees right now that were avid supporters and actively campaigned for the mayor. I haven't asked them to leave because the election's over. Apparently for some people it is, for some it is not.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
The only comment I'd make is, after reviewing our minutes from the last several meetings, there were, I think, 3 or 4, or maybe even 5, but 3 or 4 trustees, they had some issue or another with the original proposal, the 2017-0479. And I think to kind of concur with trustee Calandrillo's comments. There were no changes to that. I think trustee Fenton's motion 0583, especially as amended by trustee Calandrillo's amendment, takes all of the concerns of the trustees that spoke out in the open meetings over the last few months and consolidates all of those issues. So I think it is a committee of the whole. I don't think he was saying it's a 60,000 person committee. It's a committee of the whole where the entire public is invited to attend, as well as the commissioners and committee members that currently serve the village. So I think it does take all the concerns that the trustees had addressed at previous open meetings and kind of consolidated them all and solves the problem. I think we all want to get this committee to review the commission structure, the committee structure, and its members, and I think it accomplishes that.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Dodge.
So I appreciate the spirit that the amendment is offered in. My plan is to vote no, because I think one word describes it well, overwrought, and I think we accomplish the same thing technologically.
Yeah,
You want
so, Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Rizzo.
Technologically.
So my concern is just, are we creating a new committee, or are we just acting as a board? And I guess I'm not clear from the amendment what you're looking, and those who,
I believe that the committee that was approved in the last motion would be transformed to a committee of a workshop. I mean, it's more of a committee as a whole, I guess, it'd probably be the legal term, and I'm not an expert in this field. I guess it would be a committee of the whole, and the workshop would be the facilitating, to answer your question. Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello.
Again, I've told you, this is a process issue, and I have no problem, Mr. Schuschler. I've worked with Ed. I like Ed a lot. I have no problem, Mr. Healy. Mr. Healy, and I grew up with his kids, so it's not a personnel issue. It's more of a process. So the election is over, correct? You are the mayor. So I'm just thinking of the reasons why is what I stated. And this is not petty. This is, I think, a good process. So I take a little offense to that, but we are up here making the decision. So the election's over. I respect you, Mr. Mayor. I respect everyone that was going to volunteer. And like I said, I worked with Ed Great. He sat right a couple down. I worked with Mr. Healy. I love him and his family. Maybe one day I'll use his services for my own business. So it's not the people, it's the process in my mind. And I think this is a good process to tap talented people out there. So I just wanted to kind of respond to that. Thank you.
Any other comments? So it's a process issue. However, I will say that we've been talking about this now for 3 months, and no one has offered a change or an improvement until tonight. And that particular amendment that you just gave was not, I certainly didn't hear about it before tonight to have a discussion. I don't know, I'm sure some of the people did, but I don't know how many trustees did. That's not a really transparent process. So if you had process issues, why it wasn't brought up until tonight is a really good question.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello.
I think the members of the board all addressed different issues, and that's was all brought up. So, I mean, I came up with this idea this afternoon, picking that up my in-laws. I think, that's why this came up, and I just look forward to the vote.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Rizzo.
Can I make a suggestion, since this has gone on much longer than we've all wanted to go on, I think? Can we, since this was just a recent thought you had, can we just flush that out more so we know what we're voting on in terms of an amendment? That would just be my suggestion, but obviously.
So are you suggesting that we table it?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
I asked that we call the question. I think it's been explained by trustee Calandrello in great detail, and we could, once the committee meets, it's a committee of the whole, we could do whatever we want at that point in time, but I think the question's been put, it's been explained, and I ask that we call the question.
Could you please give me the question to read and the amendment?
Just repeat the amendment.
Sure.
Yeah, I need the entire amendment.
Yep, sure. That the Board of Trustees shall hold a open public workshop that will involve participation from all Board of Trustee members, all current citizen committee members, and all members of the general public. The workshop will include an open and transparent conversation regarding the citizens committee structure. This workshop should be held within 2 months with passage of this motion.
The amendment has been made and seconded. The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton. Trustee Dodge?
No.
Trustee Rusick?
No.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
President Peacock?
No. The amendment is passed 4-3. Are there any further comments or questions on the motion? Original motion. Right, that's what I'm doing.
This was an amendment, so it's
Understood.
a motion as amended.
Right, so the motion as amended, are there any questions? Comments?
Excuse me, Mr. So, question for the attorney. So, we're now voting on the motion as amended because the amendment passed?
That's correct.
So, just so I'm clear, I didn't mind the original motion, but now that it's been amended and I oppose to it stridently, if I want to make that statement, I need to vote no, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments or questions? The motion is put, and the question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton? Aye. Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
No.
Trustee Guerra?
Aye.
Trustee Rusick?
No.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
President Peacock?
No.
Mayor, you have 3 speakers.
Linda Anderson?
Excuse me, would you mind coming up? Thank you.
I recently bought a townhouse at Orland Crossings about 1.5 years ago. Prior to purchasing my townhouse, I called the village numerous occasions asking about the new development by Mariano's that was being built. And they told me it was going to be an upscale apartment community, and it's far from that. They're destroying our neighborhood. It has nothing to do with race, religion, nothing. Our neighborhood is filthy dirty, junky cars with the bumpers hanging off, the license plates in the windshield, people that park on John Humphrey Drive with tattoos, garbage bags, they're sleeping in their cars. Our crime has increased a lot. What are we going to do about that as a community? Sunday mornings, I'm picking up the garbage that they throw out from their cars. And I feel like I was lied to. We have one person who is a nuisance from the rental row houses. He's stealing, breaking into cars behind our townhouses. He was hiding in our bushes last Wednesday night he walks around with a hoodie over his head behind our townhouses all the time. Last Wednesday night, my neighbors were walking their dog, and he jumps out of my bushes. I mean, one is enough. And Mayor, you've been extremely helpful with this issue. But I'm scared. We're all scared.
Instead of the silent, have you spoken with the chief? I'm not aware.
Orland Park police are phenomenal.
Right.
Everyone is phenomenal. But what's happening is our crime is increasing in the townhouse area. I went out to dinner with my family 3 weeks ago. They dropped me off behind my townhouse. I have a hooded guy behind my bushes, by my garage. We chased him right to the rental units. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I guess I'm at a disadvantage. I'm not familiar at all. But you had a conversation with the police, and did they come out and meet with you and make suggestions, increase patrols?
They're phenomenal. They are. They're phenomenal. But they can't watch that complex 24/7. They can't.
No.
They can't. And what's happening now is we have a man in a souped-up Cadillac Escalade with rims that are probably more than my townhouse that is obviously not there for Sunday school. And he's behind that one row house where we're having problems with the hooded person that we chased last Wednesday night into the row house, we're asking for trouble.
Ma'am, comments are limited to 3 minutes, and so you've got about another 20 seconds if there's
I'm
anything
asking
else.
thank you, Mayor. I'm asking for suggestions on what we do as a community to protect our community. This is important to me. I'm a homeowner.
Okay.
I did not know that that village was going to be subsidized housing.
It's not.
So thank you very much for your comments. The 3 minutes is up, and then now we will comment.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll give some background. So Mrs. Anderson, we've had several, between the village manager, the police department, and myself, we've had several discussions and emails with you in the last several weeks. We've done a lot of research on the area, and Chief McCarthy says there's no additional crime. In fact, it's similar to every other neighborhood in Orland Park from a crime perspective. I think we all know that he's pretty responsive to all resident complaints, and so he's been very clear about that. We have also sent out our code enforcement officer, I think at least 4 times in the last 2 weeks, and I don't think she's found anything yet. Is that correct?
That is correct. She's never found anything based on the complaints.
So we do respond to all of these complaints. We do send out code enforcement. We do send out police officers. And that's the information that we've had over the last several weeks since these interactions. So since we were first alerted of this, I don't know, approximately 4 weeks ago.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
We'll say to Mrs. Anderson, the only unique part about your situation that you mentioned that we'll take a look at is we do have crime-free housing ordinances in Orland Park. So since it's a rental, which you said it is, I'm sure Trustee Calandrello, who's our public safety chairman, will talk with Chief McCarthy about that. But it sounds like they're already on top of it. If there is a problem with crime in a particular rental unit, it's a lot easier to deal with from a law enforcement perspective than it is if it's owned and it's the problems are being caused by the owner of a property. But I would concur. We were giving people all of us were giving people tours over the weekend, and we took them through that area, and to a man and woman, they were commenting about how nice that area is. So I'm sorry to hear that your experience has been different, but all I can say is that we're committed to keeping an eye on it. It sounds like the mayor and the chief have already been doing that, so, but we'll continue to do so.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello.
Just to echo it, with the crime-free housing, like Mike said, Trustee Carroll said that, if there's an issue with one property, we can try to address that. I know that I talked to Chief McCarthy multiple times about the calls out there, and he hasn't found anything, and they're out there a lot more than any of us are. So, but if you do see something, say something now and call. So if you do keep on saying, keep on reporting it. Maybe there's something, maybe not. I mean, I think as of right now, crime 7% down in the town. So from year to date. So I think we do have a safe community, but we go do a little better. So if you do see something, give them a call. It's up to the chair. I'd be more than happy to talk to you.
Come on up.
I talked to Chief McCarthy not even a week ago. He had called my office, and he had said that you put on extra patrols in our area. But once again, when a hooded person is hiding in our bushes and patrolling our area and taking things off our porches and trying to break into a car, I explained to him, because he said, we're not finding anything. And I said, well, Friday night, we just caught this guy trying to break into my neighbor's car. Wednesday night, we chased him right to the row house. The response was, well, we can't patrol 24/7.
Did you call the police, and did you file a police report?
The police went to yes, we called the police. The police went to the person's rental row house on John Humphrey Drive. They were there for 5 minutes. Why 5 minutes, I don't know, because the police were at his house all day long the same day.
Again, so I've had numerous conversations with the chief, and he has said there's no higher incident report of crime in that neighborhood than any others. And if he was here, I would ask him, but he's not tonight. So we'll follow up with him and get back to him about the conversations regarding your police report and find out what the disposition of that has been.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bernie Gorak.
Mr. Mayor, Board. My name is Bernie Gorak. I'm a Creekside Condo Association in Orland Park. We just have an issue with waste management. We have 5 condo buildings. Each building has 2 big garbage bins. Same garbage bins have been there for 20 years. During the summer, the stench gets pretty bad. We requested from Waste Management if they could replace them, not new ones, just clean ones. They told us no, because the contract they had with the village does not call for that. They told us they would come out and power wash them at our expense of $250 per building. It is my understanding that we pay a rental fee to Waste Management, and I did try to contact a Mr. Amir. I don't recall his last name. I was told he's in charge of contracts for the village. I called him 2-3 times. I never got a call back. I guess my question is, if we do pay a rental fee, shouldn't they have some responsibility of taking care of them?
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
Sir, what I'd ask you to do is, Mr. Lamargo is our interim village manager. He's 2 over from you. If you can give him your contact information, I'll talk to Public Works and Waste Management, and we'll see if we can work something out for you. One of us, either Mr. Lamargo or I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I just don't know what to tell you right now until I talk to them.
Okay, thank you all very much.
John McKinnon.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John McCannon, longtime Orland Park resident. I had 2 things. I just had one more, listening to that very entertaining discussion about committees, commissions, workshops, transparency. I've been to a few of these meetings recently, and I've heard the discussions. I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's very confusing, and it seems very simple that you want to have a commission to review committees. It just seems like too much government. So it just seems too complicated to really accomplish anything. The other 2 things I did want to just touch on briefly. I have noticed the last 2 weeks there have been construction updates posted on the website for the 159th Street roadway construction project. That's an improvement. Appreciate seeing that. However, they could be a lot more informative. There's a lot of action happening there. There's been some interim completion dates or deadlines that have been mentioned as far as September, something's supposed to happen, October, maybe by the end of the year, the south half of the roadway would be open to the public. It'd be very helpful if there could be some definitive dates, interim completion dates, if there's anything possible to give us more information, and it would be helpful. Still haven't heard anything about Petey's dump on 159th behind his restaurant. Looks like it's unchanged. It would be interesting to hear what's going on with that waste that's behind the restaurant. And I know there was a meeting, I saw a little bit of information, the mayors and other officials had a meeting with IDOT and other people recently. Haven't found any details, and it's encouraging that a meeting was held, but I'd like to find out where we can find if there's minutes of those meetings, if there's any action plan taken, if there's something positive moving forward that would help that project move along 159th Street. The last thing I wanted to just touch on, I found it interesting reading the packet before the agenda packet about the IMRF eligibility, and it's interesting that the mayor has opted out of participating in IMRF. Just wondering if any other village officials have opted out of that. Is there some place on the website where that information is available? There's a lot of information. I'd like to see who is eligible. Well, it's clear who's eligible. Is everybody taking advantage of that eligibility? Just seems like elected officials should not be eligible for retirement pensions that taxpayers have to fund. So, thanks for the time.
Thank you for the comments. I'll start with the IDOT issues because I was actually at the meeting. As some of you know here, staff certainly knows, and some of the board members know as well. I reached out to Representative McDermott about the IDOT-related issue, and on 159th, the fact that they hadn't been out there for many weeks, and this predates the budget shutdown, and then for over several weeks after the budget shutdown was over. She agreed to set up a meeting with IDOT, with myself and IDOT, and then anyone else we could get to come. So my office worked very diligently. We had the mayors of Tinley Park, Orland Hills, Lockport, Homer Glen, all at this meeting, as well as some of their staff members. Commissioner Morrison was there as well. The Will County Township Commissioner was also there. The Highway Commissioner for Will County was there. Representative Hurley sent a representative, and Representative McDermott was there. So we had about, 25 people representing the neighboring towns and ourselves. The IDOT sent 3 representatives. We held this meeting at BMW on 159th, which looked over the lack of progress on the project. So you could see what was not happening at 108th Avenue. You could see what was not happening at Wolf Road. We made these issues clear. What we were able, and what I will share is what we know from that meeting. We are trying to confirm and get firm dates, which we requested from IDOT, and they're supposed to give us some firm dates here within the next week. But the south lanes are supposed to open either end of October or early November, and Joe, correct me if I'm misstating any of this. And then that's going to be followed by pouring on the north lanes, where they will build land bridges first, and then they will start pouring the concrete. The original dates for our side, which is Wilcook to Ravinia, supposed to be done February 2018. The from Wilcook to 355 was supposed to be done by July of 2018. Right now, those dates have been slipped to December of 2018, and they're assuring us that as of now that those dates will hold. Their excuses for being late were that that they found soil problems and peat moss, which we pointed out the fact that those were found in the Phase 1 engineering, so they knew they existed, so they weren't really a surprise. So it was more of an excuse than a surprise. Additionally, utilities needed to be located, and that took longer than they expected. Again, they knew that utilities needed to be relocated, and they were late on that as well. What I left them with is that there aren't any more surprises because the land bridges are going in the same place as the other land bridges. So there's no peat moss surprises, and the utilities have already been relocated. So that being the case, we should not see that the time gets delayed any further. If anything, the time should move forward. So that's essentially where we stand on the 159th Street project. Regarding PDs, they are using that stockpile for the rest of the road, and Director Freiling can answer that question.
Hello. Actually, the question is very timely because I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow afternoon to talk about how quickly they can restore PD site. They have started grading and removing the debris from the LaGrange Road. Just for the benefit of the public, that piece of property was used by deconstruction for the LaGrange reconstruction project. Since that is substantially complete and we are finishing up the last phase of the project for that, we are meeting tomorrow with my staff with deconstruction as well as with the landowners to find out what the time frame is for them to restore the site to how it previously was. So I'll have more information after that meeting tomorrow afternoon, but we have been very diligent with them, letting them know now that the project is wrapping up that they need to move off the site and return it back. They were granted a temporary use for construction staging there, not a permanent use.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Rizek.
If I could just make a comment, I appreciate staff and the mayor's effort in attempting to put pressure on IDOT, because I think that is important to do, but for the public, obviously we cannot control what IDOT does. That's out of our hands. And that was part of the delay it was the main delay in LaGrange Road. So we appreciate your patience and know that we are doing everything we can from a village standpoint to make these projects go as quickly as possible.
Mayor Pecan?
Trustee Dodge.
So, a couple of points were raised. So setting aside the difficulty of finding useful information on our website, which is scheduled to be rebuilt, why don't we go ahead and encapsulate what you discussed as the report out, but also carry what you discussed as a set of minutes. So although to address the specific question, there's no minutes per se from that meeting, in keeping with our spirit of open, honest, and transparent government, and let's attack the underlying emotional issue, which is distrust in government. Let's form a report and get it on the website.
Trustee Dodge, to Mayor Peca's comments, those identical comments are on the website, stating that when each one of these items that he discussed, the estimated completion date is to be taken care of. We also provided the
I guess, Joe, where I'm going is it was the discussion that Keith shared was far richer and probably will allow a lot more people to understand what we're up against when wrestling with IDOT. So we may have some facts out there, but I think the narrative is important as well.
And I do think we are working on that. We've been waiting to confirm the dates from IDOT before putting that write-up together.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
Just a comment for the gentleman on the pension, just so you know, any of the trustees that are eligible for a pension, it's based on our trustee salary, which is slightly over $13,000 a year. So if a trustee were to pension out after being a trustee, it would be based on their $13,000 salary, just FYI.
And Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Riddick.
On that point, half of us, as I look down the board, were elected after 2011, in which was the major change to the pension system. So I think my last statement showed if I stayed for 30 years, which I can guarantee everyone in the room I will not be here 30 years from now, I think I will get $123 a month. So it's major changes after 2011. It's
Any other comments, questions? Any other comments from the from the citizens? Come on up.
Hi, I've been up here before, and the lady next to me, I didn't know her, but she stirs me up about safety and robberies and burglaries in the neighborhood. And I live in Pondview Estates, which is in back of Rock Bottom. And I forgot the name, I'm kind of Alzheimer's or dementia. What's the name of that program that the police department has that when you want to rent a building?
Crime-free ordinance.
Crime-free housing?
Yes.
I had attended those meetings in the first year or two that it was implemented and by the police department. It's just an excellent program. I had a house that my mom and dad had in Oak Lawn, and I rented out, and I felt very safe and warm and cozy by renting it to these people because I did the crime-free, investigation on them. I have had burglarized my two daughters' cars in front of the house. My homeowners association in Pondview Estates is not very cooperative with me or the Village of Orland Park. The police chief McCarthy came to my home very graciously and reassured me that they're going to do everything that they can. I feel very warm and cozy with the police department doing what they can do, and he very graciously asked if he could speak at one of our homeowners association meetings, but my homeowners association meeting said no. I guess they're not concerned about safety or robberies or anything like that. I'm very disappointed that my homeowners association isn't cooperating with Orland Park, and I don't know what there is that I can do. I'm only one person, and I get very upset, as you can see. So I need to calm down. But I just don't know how one person like me can get the police chief to talk at our homeowners association meeting. They only meet every 3 months, and what's wrong with having a guest speaker at our homeowners association meeting about safety? And especially the woman that was sitting next to me has an issue with bushes. So do I, and my homeowners association said the bushes have been there for 15 years, and if they're this tall, this is the way they're gonna be, and I want them cut down to 3 feet, but I'm only one person. And like she and all of us probably came from the city, we need to cut the bushes down because there's hooded people hiding behind bushes. We've all heard that with, you know, safety and stuff. But in Orland Park, I guess we still are living in the 1950s and 60s where everything is safe and everything is fine and dandy. But I would like to be proactive. And what's the name of that little program that you have? Crime-free housing doesn't work. It is an excellent program if you're a homeowner or a rental agency and you ask for people to, you know, sign up if they, you know, do drugs or if they've ever murdered anybody or if they have a gun and stuff like that. But our associations that are around the perimeter of where I live, because where I live you cannot rent. You cannot rent the condo, but around our perimeter you can rent. So if you're just a homeowner for that one association, you're not going to know about this program, and you rent to somebody and they're a bunch of derelicts, and a bunch of derelicts move in there and you didn't know and the police don't know until there's a crime committed. We do not have control over a bunch of derelicts moving into our community renting, and somehow or another that program needs to be implemented a little better. We need to maybe advertise to the homeowners of these condos, because they want to sell the condos, but they're not able to sell them, you know, at a decent price, so then they're going to rent them out, and they don't care what, because they're going to at least get rental for them. So my issue is, I guess, that program is an excellent program, but it's kind of broken. You're not able to implement with everybody because we have a bunch of derelicts living around by us too, and people selling drugs in my neighborhood too. So anyway, thank you very much, and I'm very disappointed that the chief of police couldn't come to our homeowners association. It was a wonderful offer on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments, and I know the chief has also, you know, met with you and discussed the area, and he has also informed me that in your area there's no crime rate that's higher or more incidents than other locales. There was a burglary, I believe, maybe one, maybe two in your area, but nothing that was out of the norm. Relative to all of the other areas that we have. So the community still, I've seen the crime statistics, the community still is very safe. And you know, the majority of our theft is retail theft at the mall. That we'd be kidding ourselves if we didn't admit that exists. But as far as crimes against persons and crimes against property outside of the mall, we are extremely safe and much better than our neighbors, and the police do an outstanding job.
Mayor Pico?
Trustee Dodge.
Just a couple of comments. So to the two folks who came up and addressed the board, it's a sensitive issue for everybody, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that you know, we get the intensity, we get the emotion, right? And the things that we can control are what programs can we put in place, like crime-free. To your point, you know, we think it's a pretty effective program. Maybe there's other ways we could make it better. So your point's well made, and I think we could take a look at that as a local authority. And I think we can do everything we can to make sure people feel comfortable and feel safe and address some of these issues. One of the things that we've got to be mindful of is broadly, I think everybody here would agree that there's been a general degradation in American society, and there's an increase in drug usage, there's an increase in criminality. Here in Cook County, we face what looks to be a stunning walkback and making it a lot easier to decriminalize things that we used to call a problem. And so we're swimming against a pretty strong tide, and I just want to make sure that you heard from me that we get it. You know, we acknowledge that there's real and serious concerns here, and we're going to keep pressing on it. But you know, it's unfortunate to have sat here for a while and see what's going on broadly, very broadly in American society, and then most locally in Cook County. I'm quite disturbed at what looks to be a walkback in criminalization. That's a problem, and unfortunately, bad guys get driver's licenses, bad guys get cars, and we've got to deal with it.
Any other comments? Trustee Fenton.
I have a question for staff. She mentioned that the units around her, which are condos, the individuals who own them are renting them out. So do we keep track of where rentals are to get them into the crime? So in other words, if Trustee Calendro owned a condo, can he just rent it to whoever he wants, or does he have to be part of the program?
No, every non-owner occupied unit in the village, regardless of whether it's an apartment, a single-family home, or a condo, must be registered and must be inspected and must go through the crime-free housing, regardless of whether it's condo or not.
Trustee Guerra.
If I might add, I make a habit of attending police beat meetings. They're always in late winter, early spring, and there's robocalls made to people that live in those particular beats. If you don't get that call for some reason, check with the police department, maybe in February, and find out when your beat is scheduled. And you can learn about what's going on in your neighborhood, make the police aware. The easy part is the crimes of opportunity. And they can be teenagers, they can be anybody. But if you leave your car in your driveway and your car is not locked, it wouldn't have happened but for, it may not be by you. I'm saying in other parts of the village, that's one of the most common things. People will leave, God forbid, a purse, a laptop, whatever, money in the cup holder, and people go by, they see it, and if the door is unlocked, it's gone. So those are, the easy things that we can do for ourselves.
Any other comments?
We done?
Yes, question? And
Excuse me, I don't know what the word is called either. I want to call it a Jimmy John, but the car windows can be closed. They don't have to be broken into. It's a stick that you put in there. I don't know, I call it a Jimmy John. I don't know you.
Slim Jim.
Okay, so your car can be secure, and they still can get in it.
Oh,
And you can
absolutely.
look out your window and see the car's still secure. There's no broken windows, but they got the little Jimmy that they can stick down there, and, nothing,
No argument. I'm just saying
so they're
the
not,
easy
they're not
parts.
breaking the windows to get
No.
in because, or opening up the door because you're stupid and you didn't lock the car last night. It's a little more complicated than that. They're
You know what?
smarter. They're smarter than we are.
Seriously, though, you'd be amazed how many people will leave a laptop sitting in an unlocked car. It happens.
But
So
that-
in the interest
and
of,
they get
in the
nothing-
interest of time, I think we do acknowledge that crime does happen. It even happens when people don't leave their windows open, their doors unlocked. It happens in the community. Additionally, we face, and our police do an outstanding job, we face a very difficult job with Cook County in the fact that they do not prosecute a lot of who we arrest. A lot of who we bring in, they choose not to prosecute. So it's making our jobs very challenging, and it puts people back out on the streets. That is a Cook County-wide issue that we're dealing with. So given all of that, our police have done a really good job of keeping us safe. Sir, I think you had a comment?
I'll be quick. Brian Weaver, up on Pebble Beach, over by Tamarack, 88th Avenue. Part of the deal is, my wife and I were both born in Chicago, and we grew up in a neighborhood where everybody minded everybody else's business, so we do the same in our neighborhood. We are all Gladys Kravitzes in our neighborhood. We watch everything. We get each other's mail when we go on vacation. We do patrols on our neighbors' houses when they're gone. That's just what you do. Anyway, I was fascinated at the ad hoc committee thing. I'm going to call it a thing. I work at the state of Illinois, which is the epicenter of insanity for law. But I'll tell you this. After watching three motions to do one thing, I'm just going to say this. The governor just signed an omnibus bill from my department that does a lot of cleanup, because we always look at cleanup. State of Illinois statutes run 10 years for a reason, so that we can take a look at stuff and go, that's stupid. We're going to get rid of that. So this governor finally got rid of some stuff in between all the SB1 things going on. So there's 600 bills sitting on his desk. One of these got done. But the point is, don't get caught up in the paralysis of analysis, which I'm watching you all twist in this. It's not that hard to take a look and sunset some stuff that might not be working. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. They're all grown-ups. They'll all get over it. So just go do it. Pull the trigger. Somebody got to pull the trigger. At some point, go drive down our own streets. You're going to see dead squirrels because they can't decide. Don't be a dead squirrel. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you for your comments. Any comments?
That is funny.
So board comments, Trustee Guerra?
Once again, I'd like to congratulate our Parks Department, Parks and Recreation. We had a pandemonium run, which was extremely successful, and then first annual Pawdemonium run for the dogs, and that too was well attended. Thank you to staff.
Trustee Carroll?
Comments, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Dodge?
Good luck to us all.
Trustee Fenton?
I just wanted to say that tonight at committee, and which will be coming to the next board meeting, we approved the Stellwagen Farm Foundation's master plan for the Stellwagen Farm out on 108th Avenue. They will be starting tours in September and October, and I encourage anybody who would like to see a beautiful piece of property and buildings that have been preserved for the future of Village of Orland Park to go out there, and once the master plan is approved by the board and published, it will be on the website and also have hard copies available, because the future of that farm is absolutely fantastic and it's very exciting. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank staff and the members of the foundation that took the time to put this together, and a great product was put forth.
Trustee Calandrello?
Just want to also just commend the Paramount in the park. I ran this year. For some reason, it's getting harder and harder. It's probably because of my age, but did a really good job. Also, the council in the park yesterday, while we had some rain, I think we had a great turnout for the weather. So heads up to staff. And then we do have a public official in the audience, particularly tax time. Rich Kelly's in the back there. Just want to say, if you need help with your taxes, particularly with the assessment this year, that man's right there, so hopefully he's probably a popular man. So, but just remember, only 7 cents per dollar go to us. So we're not we're not the big bad boogeyman. We do very well for ourselves as in being good stewards of your tax dollars. But you can take some of the money away from us, but so wait, get your taxes looked at. Thank you.
Trustee Ruzick?
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
So I have a few comments. First, which I wasn't planning on talking about tonight, but the 4 members of the board that put a committee together to review our commissions, it's about time. 40 years collectively, or over 40 years collectively, you've been on the board, and so finally we're actually reviewing those. It's a shame that you did not have the courage to tell the people who were on that committee why you didn't want them on the committee. To be clear, the purpose of the committee, and I'm going to read for the public exactly what was there, how simple it was. Review our commission's goals, structure, charter, and current level of engagement and impact. Identify commissions that are no longer needed and make recommendations on new commissions and advisory boards to fill needed gaps. Make recommendations on commission structures, meeting requirements, goals, and charters to help make them more value-added for the village board and staff. Make recommendations on how to make commissions more efficient and effective, and ensure that our commission structure continues to meet state requirements. Pretty simple charter. I really want to apologize to the 5 members that were on here that have come to several meetings waiting for this to be passed. I apologize for the time that you've spent. Ed Jerome, Kevin Scanlon, Janine Smith, Ed Schuschler, and Bill Healy. My sincere apologies for having your time wasted by this board. We are approaching a watershed moment for the village. We are facing many external challenges. For example, Illinois, we know that's a problem. Cook County, the changing retail environment, as well as internal changes, including becoming a high-performing organization, and clearly internal changes and challenges with the board. We are currently looking to select a new village manager to help us face these challenges, lead Orland Park staff, and usher in the next era in Orland Park's history. I commend the board on their willingness to work together in both developing and using a new search process that, in my opinion, has been very effective. I also think it is important, given the recent election, to be clear to our residents about the qualities that I think are necessary for the person who fills this position. We have a talented staff with many capable and qualified subject matter experts. For this reason, in my opinion, the single most important quality for the new village manager is leadership. The village manager must command the respect of the staff and project the confidence necessary to lead them. Additionally, the village manager's leadership will include the ability to develop trust and relationships with the staff in all members of the board, as well as myself. Some other critical traits include integrity. The village manager must be someone with unquestioned honesty and integrity. They must be able to work seamlessly with the board, the staff, and the village president, and the public, while maintaining discretion, diplomacy, and confidentiality. Accountability. The village manager must be accountable to the board and the mayor, and fully understand that while they may have opinions on issues and will be encouraged to offer advice and recommendations, ultimately, they report to the board and the mayor, who are elected to represent the people of Orland Park. Excellence. The village must be dedicated to the community, the village manager must be dedicated to the community, but also must be committed to driving excellence within and from the organization he or she will lead. This is a critical time in Orland Park's history, and we cannot afford to falter. As the village manager we select now will implement the policies and decisions that will affect the residents of Orland Park for years, if not decades. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Executive session.
No. Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton.
Motion to go into executive session for A, approval of minutes, B, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific village employees, C, setting price for sale or lease of village property.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calendrola.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Gira.
Aye.
Trustee Rusick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
President Peacock.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor?